And we continue with the Koffee Klatch on WPCA because Pat Cahill is here from Buffalo Ridge Defense. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Bob. Are you ready for a wonderful week?
I am. I had a wonderful week already.
Already? Well, we're on the backside of the week, right? So we're heading to the
That's
weekend.
Right. Yeah, when it's downhill, it's more fun.
It is. It is a lot more fun.
So look at that. He's got a big list in front of him.
Well, see, to keep everything on track, and we stay on time, right?
Yep.
We need to keep it done. So today I'd like to talk about women's safety.
Women's safety?
Women, not children's. This is women's safety. Single, married, doesn't matter what it is. And it's an important topic to talk about because 1 in 3 women will experience either physical or sexual violence in their lifetime.
1 in 3?
That's statistics from the UN, from the U.S. government, from the Center for Disease Control, for everywhere. So 1 in 3. And those and they can have those impacts can have those traumatic impacts can affect them mentally and physically for the rest of their lives.
Sure.
All the time. So it's important that they deal with those things.
And I would presume that it probably affects those close around them.
It affects everything. It affects their life, their family's life. It affects the people that know them, see them at work.
Sure.
It affects how they see other people. Some are just afraid to go in public, right? And they live a life out of fear. And and encourage, if that has happened to anybody, that they get the right counseling and help to help them deal with those situations.
Exactly.
You're not out there alone. There's plenty of professional help out there to help you.
Well, and I would think that's probably not something you can deal with on your own.
No, it's not.
You kind of need a little support of some sort.
Yeah, and to be aware of it, to be aware of those things happen, that the statistics are so high. Many people that are in the security industry don't even understand fully the dangers that's presented. And the goal here is to empower women. Right, my goal today is to empower women to say, look, you're important, you matter, right? You need to take control over your own personal safety. Okay. And how are you going to do that, right?
What kind of factors come under safety, personal safety? Like what's a woman
what's a plan to stay more safe?
Well, yeah, and to defend against.
Right. So some things, you're defending against violence, right? You're defending against people that want to harm you. There's bad people out there that want to harm you.
Yeah.
You might be defending against you go walking on the trail and there's a bad dog that comes out and tries to bite you all the time.
True.
I mean, you're preventing yourself from being harmed.
Sure.
Right. Physically or emotionally or whatever. You're working on that. And there's 5 points that you need to do that. 5 important things. Safety plans. One, you have to have a plan. If you're going to leave your home, if you're going to go out, you have to have a plan. What am I going to do? How am I going to get there? Am I going to be in my car? Can I keep my car locked when I'm there? Am I safe? You let someone else know your plans ahead of time. It's easy. We all want to be independent in this world. It's easy to jump in your car and leave. But even if it's something simple like I'm going to the store, you tell someone else I'm going to the store. Whoever your roommate is, whoever you live with, husband, wife, spouse, someone else, that you trust. You always communicate with someone else because you hear of all these incidents where people just disappear.
Yeah,
Nobody knew where they were going, right? And they were abducted or disappeared. Kids, women, men, doesn't matter. They just disappear. So you tell someone.
That makes it pretty tough to know a place to start to find them.
It does. The other thing you can do is there's lots of apps for phones out there like Life 360 and other things where you can literally on your smartphone, one, you can ping your location as you're going along to a friend, right, that you trust so they can watch where you're at. You can flat out ping your location to someone, say, hey, I just got to the airport, ping your location, you're at the airport, or whatever it's going to be, right? I would ping my location so I remember where I parked my car. That would be a good thing, right? But you do that. You utilize the smartphone technologies that are there, your watch or whatever that you have. And then besides having that plan, because fail to plan to fail, right?
That's
We've
right.
said that so many times.
Yep.
You find different things that you can use for your personal defense, different tools that can enhance your personal defense. Those tools could be something like pepper spray. You might have whistles. Flashlights are a big one. I think everyone should always have flashlights on them, right? You might want to get a taser. You can carry a taser, just like the police in Wisconsin, if you have a concealed carry permit. You might want to get a firearm. But
do you need a permit to carry the taser?
You do in Wisconsin.
You do in Wisconsin, okay.
You don't need it in your own home, but you do need to have a concealed carry permit to possess a taser in public outside of your home.
Gotcha.
All right, in Wisconsin. But it's more than just having those things. Having those things would be like me buying a 747 and saying, I own a 747, but I don't know how to use it. Right?
Yeah,
so I'm never going
exactly.
to go anywhere or do anything
Yep.
with it.
But I got it, by
But
golly.
I got it. So just owning those things don't make you safer.
Yeah.
Getting the proper training on how to use those things,
Absolutely.
whether it's pepper spray, your taser, your firearm, whatever it is,
Yep.
get the proper training.
Yep.
And not training that someone's turning it into G.I. Jane that you're going to go out there and take on the world. Just the proper training where you're able to say, this is how I use this. I know that this can of pepper spray will squirt something out, depending on the size of the can, somewhere
Sure.
between 10, 15, 20 feet, depending
Sure.
on what you have.
Yep.
I know that this taser works this way. I know that they make flashlight tasers that are, they don't shoot projectiles out like the police ones. They're an impact. So you have to touch someone. But if you're being grabbed,
Uh-huh.
you can touch
It's easy to
someone with
touch
it.
someone,
You'll know
yeah.
how to touch someone if they're grabbing you, right? And then you utilize those tools. You join organizations like United States Concealed Carry, or USCCA is the short acronym for that.com, where they have all kinds of training things that are on there that you can use. And you go to local karate schools or local dojos. Leadership Martial Arts comes to mind. Those type of people where you can go there and you literally can learn not to be a 10th degree black belt in karate, but you're going to learn this is some things I can do to get away from someone and break and get away.
Sure.
This is what I'm
The
doing.
object is to get away.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as additional safety tips, things you can do to stay safe at your home is number one thing is avoid sharing too much information on social media.
Yeah.
Right? For your own personal safety and everywhere else, when you're sharing lots of information, I'm sitting down here, I'm partying in the backyard, whatever you're doing,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And you're taking people that are predators and you're giving them information about you where they can come and hurt you. You're
Sure.
giving the opportunities. Use technology. Now, when I say use technology, the basic one is the lock on your door. Lock your doors. If you own a car or home or whatever, if it has a lock on it, it should be locked. Right?
Yeah.
Doors should be locked. And then here's one people forget, you build a sense of community with your neighbors, because if you need help immediately, the people closest to you are your neighbors. Can you
Yeah.
run there? Have you built that sense of community? And now about driving. Here's a big one for driving with your cars. And that's maintain the maintenance on your vehicle. Do preventive maintenance on your vehicle. So when you
Sure.
go somewhere, you're not worried about it breaking down.
Yeah.
If it breaks down at night and you're stuck in the middle of the road and
What do you do?
you're in Northern Polk County and your cell phone's not working and it's cold, and what are you going to do, right?
Yep.
Again, when you're traveling, use your GPS or use your mapping features to tell your friends exactly where you're at. Then the one thing that's so important is stay calm, right? You need to stay calm because fear and panic kill, right? They get you in worse trouble.
Absolutely.
And you need to stay calm, number one. Refuse to be offended, number two. So keep your head about you and don't get offended.
Yeah.
If you see someone doing, in this day and age, there's lots of protesters out there. You can go to the airport, go somewhere, there'll be someone holding a sign up and protesting. Well, if there's protesting something that you're completely against and you want to go over there and be the counter protester and be their personal
Don't
Holy
do it.
Spirit on their shoulder and start yelling at them, you just are asking for trouble.
Yeah,
Right? And they're gonna find you. So you stay away from that.
How does one learn, or can you learn, to stay calm? Because it's tough.
It is tough to stay calm, but when someone comes in here to be on your show the first time, they're
Yep.
nervous, right?
Yep.
How do they stay calm? Well, if you prepare to what you're going to talk about, if you plan in your mind, if I get in my car and someone tries to break into my car, if I'm walking somewhere and someone tries to grab my purse, if I see someone that makes the hair on the back of my
Yeah.
neck stand up and I
Yeah.
feel really uncomfortable by him, the danger stranger thing.
Yep.
Have a plan. Say, yeah, I'm walking away. I'm willing to alter what I'm doing. I know I was going to go into this store, but now I'm willing to alter what I'm doing because I want to get away from this.
Yep.
But if you plan, then you have the confidence in your plan that you can do
Gotcha.
something. Where if you don't plan,
Yep.
right? And then if you have the tools, if you say, well, I have pepper spray or I have a taser, I have a firearm. Well, great. But if you don't know how to use them,
Yeah.
you're going to be more nervous trying to get it out. So it's more.
All comes back to being prepared, doesn't it?
And having a mindset of not living in fear, but living aware of what's going on around
Yeah.
you. Create a buffer zone around yourself where you don't let people get too close to your buffer zone. preparation is so important. It's the importance of everything. It's having that plan.
It is.
Knowing what you're going to do. I mean, even knowing how many times do people drive somewhere and there's an emergency and the police will say, 911, what's the location of your emergency? And GPS isn't working right. And
Yeah.
they'll go, well, I don't know.
Where am I?
I'm between Amory and St. Croix.
Yeah.
Well, where? I mean, I'm on Highway 8. Well, that's a big road.
Yeah.
Where on Highway 8?
Exactly.
Be aware of where you're at. So you could say, I need help here.
Yeah.
Not right to the inch, but you need to have
Close.
a general idea.
Yep.
What's the name of the road you're on?
Exactly.
Right?
Some landmark.
It's a landmark,
Yep.
I'm next to the blue house by the purple rock, right? Well, no one knows where that is, so you need to have a plan. And then share these tips that we just talked about. Share it with other people so they can say, again, not to live out of fear. We don't live out of fear. We live being aware and being prepared, and that's what gives us calm. That's what refuses to be offended. Everyone has a right to remain safe, right?
Yep.
Everyone has a right to
Absolutely.
safety. Small habits make a difference in your life.
I bet they do.
When you're changing things. And, by you being willing to share these tips with others, that empowers you too.
Sure.
It's just some of the things. There's a whole thing. We could go on for hours. This is a 50-minute
I'm sure.
program.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we have women's safety courses that we teach, women basic handgun courses.
I was
that we
going to
teach
ask
at
you
Buffalo
about
Ridge
that.
Defense also. There's plenty of courses locally, and we have courses at night. One of the popular courses is our church safety program. So if you have a church or a building or an event or a business, and you want an overview of how can I make this safer, but not make it Fort Knox. We still want it to be welcoming, right? I mean, we want everyone to be welcome and come into our church so they can hear the gospel of Christ. That's what we're there for, is to share that.
Yeah.
We don't want to make it an impenetrable fortress. But what can we do to still do diligence as a safety team or as an organization to keep the people within the four walls safe while they're there?
And then you should let those people know you've done that, I presume,
Well,
because then they'll feel more confident.
You don't let them know, but there's ways you can harden a perimeter without making it.
I didn't mean what you're doing, the fact that you've done it.
Say that we have a safety team. You could do that, and that makes them feel better. And,
Exactly.
And then when they see something, say something, right? They know who to tell it to. That's another more important thing.
Sure.
But having that, in Buffalo Ridge too, what I like to do is I go to churches, I go to businesses, and I give them a 2-hour presentation for free. It's free. All they have to do, I give them a refund at the end, but it's free.
Yeah.
Right? They can like it. And it doesn't mean you have to do anything. And I'm not even saying you're doing something wrong. You just have some outside eyes that give you an idea of some of the things you can do for free. And whether you choose to implement it or not, that's up to you and your organization. That's not up to me.
If somebody's listening, Pat, and we haven't touched on something that strikes their fancy or interest, I bet you have a website where they can find all about Buffalo Ridge.
You can go to buffaloridgedefense.com. And at buffaloridgedefense.com, it lists all of our classes, all the things we do from emergency first aid and kind of stopping the bleed. And we're coming into summer. I mean, people get hurt, right? What do you do in an emergency for injuries? Not necessarily violence. We live in a farming community. What if there's a farming accident? What if there's a car accident?
Yep. What if there's any kind of an accident?
Do you have a
could trip
first
and
aid
fall
kit?
down.
Are you prepared, right?
Yep.
And we're all different. Not all of us are the same. Not all of us can deal with emergencies the same way. But use the tools we have. Plan ahead. So when you plan ahead, right?
Yeah, when you
plan ahead, things fall together, right?
Yes, they do.
And then you know how to react accordingly.
Yep. And that keeps you safer.
It does. That's what it is. And especially now with women and children. And, back to that statistic again, 1 out of 3 women in their lifetime
That's
are
incredible.
physically or sexually assaulted. And don't be a victim, right?
Exactly.
You're worth saving. Everyone is worth saving. And if you feel uncomfortable and you think that some guy is going to hurt you or following you, don't say, well, I got to be brave. No, you have to dial 911.
Yeah,
let them know
exactly.
this is what's going on. I don't feel safe. And then don't go to some remote area. Head to a populated area.
Yeah.
If you're driving your car,
get to people
drive
as
to
quick as you
downtown
can.
Amory. Drive somewhere where there's people around you where you can get help. Don't try to outrun them or get away. Try to get to a place. Well, you do try to outrun them and get away, but whatever. We're blessed with the Harvey Stour Trail and the walking trails and the Seven Lakes trails and the Cat Trail and lots of recreational things to do here.
Yep.
If you're going to go out at night by yourself, run, man or woman, you're without telling anyone where you're at, without having tracking things on your phone.
You're looking for trouble.
You're you're not looking for trouble, but you're not stacking the cards in the deck in your favor so you can avoid trouble.
Exactly.
Right? And so do the. I have this thing I tell young kids when they say, "Well, what do you think we should do? What's our advice?" And I usually go, "Don't do stupid things with stupid people in stupid places." Right?
Good point. Use your head.
Use your head. Common
Exactly.
sense. There's that word again, but common sense, and just don't go anywhere where you don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, why are you going there?
Common sense applies to everything.
Remarkably, it does. Yes,
It does.
I wish our politicians knew that sometimes.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Thanks, Pat.
All right, thank you.
Pat Cahill from Buffalo Ridge Defense.